Welcome everyone to the first ever Incredicast Super Bowl podcast. After an intense battle with the Patriots, the Eagles win their first Super Bowl. So David, tell us about the road that they traveled to win their very first Super Bowl.
Well, if you are a fan of Philly or you play for Philly, the highway to take, it would have to be Interstate 676. You merge onto Highway 82, and then you can get to the Lincoln Financial Field over there in Philly. So yeah, that would be the best way to get to the stadium.
That concludes our podcast.
But yeah, no, wow, just a fantastic team all year long. I think that this Philly team is the most complete team, of course, out of anyone in the whole league, just with how they're, they got Carson Wentz, who was hurt, and they had Foles at the quarterback position, the running backs, the offensive line, defense, the safeties, everyone on this team, no matter what. Even the kicker this year, first year, hit a 60-yard field goal early this year. So this team, it was just so solid in all places. So
Who did they play in the Super Bowl? If people didn't look at the thumbnail by now,
chose to play people. Some people that have seen this show before and have played in the Super Bowl lots of times before. They played a red hot, or should I say a red, white, and blue hot Tom Brady and a Rob Gronkowski, who has been in these clutch times before. Sadly for him, the Patriots offense could not come out late in the fourth. However, this whole Pats team really came alive in the second half. They've been here before. They have 5 Super Bowls, which is the most, or either tied for the most, as a coach and QB duo. So for Tom Brady, he's been here before. He's played here before, which it just added to how great it was for Nick Foles and Doug Peterson and Jay Ajayi to really come out just on, they were on fire the whole game. So
yeah, that's one thing about the Eagles. Like most teams, when they play the Patriots, they'll play like really good in the first half, and then they'll just let it slip away in the second half. This Eagles team, they did not let that happen. They played in every quarter that they could. That's really how you beat the Patriots, and they did just what they needed to do.
Yeah, and that is how you beat the Patriots. You need to play every quarter. You need to keep pressure on Brady. You need to blitz. You need to always be there, really. As we saw with the Falcons last year, they weren't there at all in the fourth quarter. So yeah, just with the Eagles' defense of how they were able to get into the pocket and force Brady on the run. Tom Brady, he's a 5-time Super Bowl champion. He's an incredible quarterback, leads tons of statistics. However, he can't throw on the run as well as an Aaron Rodgers or that bad man from Seattle, and Cam Newton even. He can't throw as well, under pressure on the run when the blitz is coming, as we saw in this game for sure. There were tons of passes where he had to kind of lead the leave the pocket, and it didn't really work for him because it's Tom Brady. But yeah. So Adam, after saying all of that, what are some things that the Eagles did right?
Well, it definitely wasn't the field goals.
But it's a tie, Dad.
You rarely saw the punting team this entire game. So we
Yeah.
had some really bored kickers.
Yeah, and you had some offensive lines that were just calling for gas masks, and just help. We need help, because I don't know why everyone decided to go for it on fourth down. On your own 40, their 40, your own 10, their 10. Everyone was going for it on fourth down. It seemed like, and that was just that first half. I thought it was like the Rose Bowl, or like this past championship game with Alabama and Georgia, because there was some crazy stuff going on at first half, at least. But yeah, some things that both teams did right on offense is that the Eagles' offense was a dynamic system. Run the ball, throw it short, throw it long, run it with Jay Ajayi and Blunt, and even Clement came out and he power rushed really well. Just all over the place. Could run, they can throw. That Pats defense, the secondary core, looked beat. They looked tired. They looked whipped. They really did. Of how the Eagles just were able, Foles, he deserves to be Super Bowl MVP. Congratulations to him on that, for a secondary quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP. But yeah, some things that the Patriots did right on offense is Tom Brady. Yes.
That's it.
Really, because even though sometimes they had success running the ball, it was Tom Brady throwing for over 400 yards in the Super Bowl, and he lost still. Wow. Just Tom Brady. Yeah, just Tom Brady. Yeah, he was Tom Brady this game, and he had to be, because this Eagles team was on fire in all ways and forms, on defense and offense. So yeah. But what are some things, Adam, that our fans from Boston and Vermont and that whole area in New England can cry about? What are some things that the Patriots had problems with?
If it wasn't for they had like one or two missed field goals, like I said before. And towards the fourth quarter, they had that, or towards the end of the fourth quarter, they had a 1-point lead. But then Nick Foles came back to score. All Tom Brady needed to do is make his way back up there, score again. However, this time he fumbled the ball, and the Eagles recovered in field goal range. Later on, that would be why the Eagles would win by 8.
And that strip at the very end, Tom Brady, he had a chance, and the clock was his friend. That's the thing. They had a timeout left. It was possible to march down the field and, try and drain the clock away, score a touchdown. It was possible for them to win the Super Bowl. It was, going to happen. I believe it was going to happen at that point, but just...
Yeah, there's no doubt that they would have won if it was not for that fumble, because they would have marched their way down, done the same thing, put the Eagles in a tight situation, if not already have ended the game.
Yeah.
So that fumble was the clutch for the Eagles.
Yeah, it really was, and that was the first and only turnover of the game.
Yeah.
So both sides of the ball on all teams really, was their all game. They really were cracking at it all game long. And that is, we've seen some teams that go to the Super Bowl and they just fall off the face of the earth. Like the Bills 2 years in a row against the Cowboys in the 90s. And then you got other teams, the Seahawks in 2005, I believe. 2004, 2005, just certain teams that fall away, and they're like, how did you even get this far? And you got years like this where you have two teams that are just, the offense is able to move and the defense is able to stop time after time. As we saw in the first part of the fourth quarter, so at the end of the third and the beginning of the fourth, both teams just kept scoring left and right. They kept, it was a 10-point lead for the Eagles, and then it was a 3-point because Brady would march down the field, and then back to 10, and back to 3. It was crazy. So
Yeah, that was really the main theme of the game. Both teams scored over and over.
yeah.
But I believe that's all we have for the game itself. But how did the Eagles and Patriots get through the playoffs?
Well, as we've seen a lot of times, except for my Dallas Cowboys, who don't know how to win a game in the playoffs, usually both teams who travel all the way to the land that has the Lombardi Trophy, they're usually, and have been now for the past couple years, the two first seeds in their conference. So both teams, they had the bye week early on. Not having to play in the wild card round is crucial because it's time to rest. You get time to watch tape. You watch the games. You find out who you're gonna play. But yeah, for the Eagles, they had the bye week, and then they came out and had to play the Falcons with Nick Foles, his first ever playoff game. So for him, that was crucial, and they managed to squeak on by the Falcons just barely. And then, meanwhile, that week, the Patriots. I'm so sorry, Adam. The Patriots.
No, it's okay. I'm recovering.
They played the Titans, and yeah, Tom Brady, he went to town on the air, and that defense just, sorry about that. And then the week after that was the game to go to the Super Bowl, and everyone was so hype. Everyone, because you had the Vikings, who managed to just squeak by, the Saints on that crazy last play of the game, pass to Diggs, just crazy. And everyone was, hoping for a really close game, good game. And the Eagles, they just were like, no, it's okay. And they won by a lot. Pick six after pick, after fumble, after everything against poor Case Keenum. And then during that time, earlier on that same day, actually, the Pats from New England, they played the Jaguars. And the Jags had the lead early on, and they had a great game. Tom Coughlin, he knows how to beat the Patriots. He has played them twice in the Super Bowl and won both times. So Coach Coughlin, personally, I feel like Tom Coughlin, he is the man to coach that Jacksonville team. Some things, happen for a reason, and Tom Brady to Cooks to Edelman just kept coming back again, play after play, and they would win that game. And then those two teams, they play in the Super Bowl. So
that's a wrap of the 2018 playoffs. It was an exciting game after exciting game, really close scores almost every game besides the Vikings and Titans game.
Yeah, well.
But before we get into other things, what teams do you expect to be back to the Super Bowl next year?
Oof. Well, all depends who changes what and who goes where in the offseason. I see some teams in the AFC that are going to make some moves. I see the Jaguars trying to have some more help on the offensive line, possibly get more receivers, even a tight end. Just certain teams trying to add on to what they have. Draft picks coming up. I see Cleveland. They're going to win a game. I'm calling it now. Cleveland's going to win a game.
Just one.
I'd have to predict, though. I would say that the Seattle Seahawks are going to make it to the Super Bowl. That is, however, if they add at least one man on the offensive line, because they currently don't have an offensive line. The potential in that defense of Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, and so forth, Earl Thomas, and so forth, is just fantastic. So I see the Seattle Seahawks going from the NFC. And then in the AFC, it all depends. Again, either the Patriots or the Steelers.
Yeah.
We said that this year, and then the Jaguars were like, oh, hi. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be the
Who do you
same.
see?
I think it would be the same story. It would either be Patriots or Steelers, unless the Jaguars can do the same exact thing. But I have a feeling it will still be the Patriots. But on the other side, I think the Vikings will try to get revenge and actually make their way back. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
This will be the longest time to see if we make our picks right. Normally it's a week after we find out. No, this time it's a year.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. But what podcast comes after this podcast?
Well, the game of American football is over. So that means one thing, kids. It's race time. And we're going to Daytona for the Clash. And quick thing, I realized in our preseason podcast, I picked Alex Bowman to win the Clash. And I realized that NASCAR changes their rules more often than certain stocks in the stock market on Wall Street. So I did not realize that the rule of the car points changed to driver points. So Alex Bowman, he will not be in the Clash. So, yeah, I apologize for that. But yes, NASCAR is coming back. We're going to Daytona. Well, actually,
we're not.
Sadly, we aren't going to Daytona. But yeah,
But NASCAR, if you're watching somehow on a football podcast, I don't see why. But if you're watching, we want to go.
yeah.
So would you like to change your pick for the Clash real quick? Or
No. I see Bowman. He's just gonna run out onto the field.
Okay. So that's it. Everyone, look out for my pick, which was Joey Logano versus a guy who's going to be in the garage. But I do believe that is everything for this podcast.
Yeah. Once again, the Philadelphia Eagles have their first ever Super Bowl, and it's crazy. And our two teams, the Titans and the Cowboys, are probably not going to do much in this coming year.
Yeah, we're probably never going to get to have a podcast where it's Titans versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl,
It's possible, but not probable.
Yeah.
Dream, right? Can dream.
That would be the best podcast ever, because one person would be like, yeah, another person would be like, screw you,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we can play it on Madden.
Yeah.
Sometime. There you go.
We'll stop doing these podcasts and we'll just play on Madden.
Super Bowl 100. So yeah, just a really crazy season, Cleveland down and the Eagles fly high. That's probably the two things you can take away. But yes, so the Clash is coming up, And after that, Daytona is coming up. And after that,
Atlanta is coming up, and then after that is Las Vegas, and then after that,
Phoenix. But yeah.
Sir, it's not Phoenix anymore. It's ISM Raceway.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
But yeah, hope everyone who is watching this podcast has a great week. And always remember, if it's fast, it's on Incredicast. And we will see you in the next podcast.